welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're diving into something literally unprecedented that has captured global attention. On September 15, 2024, Mexico published a sweeping constitutional reform to its judicial power. We're not talking about a minor administrative tweak here. This is a ground-up restructuring of the entire judicial branch. And our main focus today? The absolute game-changer of this new law, the fact that Mexico is now going to elect its judges and magistrates by direct popular vote.
But before we get into the nitty-gritty of the ballot box, I want you to think about this staggeringly important number, 0. Under this newly established constitutional system, exactly 0 public or private financing will be allowed for judicial campaigns. Seriously, no campaign war chests, no private donors, no state-funded ad budgets. It's a completely new paradigm for how an election even operates.
So, why do this? Well, the foundational reasoning comes directly from the authors of the reform. They stated their justification was an urgent need to combat public perceptions of opacity, corruption, and these massive systemic delays within the federal judiciary. The stated goal here is to basically align the whole judicial system with this ideal of a rapid, transparent, and fully independent administration of justice. Section 1. ¿Quiénes serán los candidatos? Who will be the candidates? Right, so if judges are going to be elected by the public, who actually gets to be on the ballot? The reform drastically reshapes the profile of a potential candidate. Under the modified Article 95, that old rule requiring Supreme Court candidates to be at least 35 years old? Gone. Completely eliminated. And the requirement for professional legal experience? Cut right in half, dropping from 10 years down to just 5. Oh, and to ensure a strict separation of powers, anyone who held a top political office, like a senator or a governor, is banned from running if they held that office during the year prior to the election call. Now you might be thinking, wait, so they just lowered the bar? Well, not exactly. While the minimum age and years of experience dropped, the reform introduces some incredibly strict academic thresholds. To even be considered, a lawyer has to have a minimum overall GPA of 8.0 in their law degree and a minimum of 9.0 in the specific subjects related to the post they're actually applying for. So the barrier to entry really shifts away from just age and longevity, straight into strict academic performance. On top of that, the rules governing conflicts of interest have been heavily fortified. Under the modified Article 101, members of the judiciary face much stricter incompatibilities. For example, there's a new, extended 5-year ban preventing judges from litigating in front of the courts after they leave their post. They are also now constitutionally obligated to present a formal declaration of interests. Section 2. El proceso de elección. The election process.
Okay, let's look at the actual mechanics here. How does a judge get elected by the public under this new framework? Well, Article 96 outlines this very specific multi-step pipeline. First up, the Senate issues a public call. Second, candidates are nominated or postulated by all 3 branches of government, the executive, the legislative, and the judicial branch itself. Third, these special evaluation committees step in to verify everyone's credentials, making sure they actually meet those strict academic and background requirements we just talked about. And finally, the approved candidates go straight to a direct, popular vote.
Once they're actually on the ballot, the campaign rules are incredibly strict. Lower judges and magistrates are elected for 9-year terms, and they are allowed to seek re-election. But hey, remember that 0 from earlier? There is absolutely no public or private campaign financing permitted. And taking it even a step further, political parties are strictly prohibited from participating in these campaigns. No party machinery, no financial backing. The candidates literally have to stand on their own professional merits. Section 3. Cambios en la Suprema Corte. Changes in the Supreme Court.
So, the structural shifts to the Supreme Court of Justice of the nation are just as massive as the election process itself. First off, immediate administrative streamlining. Under the old system, the Supreme Court consisted of 11 ministers. Under the new 2024 system, that number is instantly reduced to 9.
And the rules governing these 9 Supreme Court ministers are quite different from the lower courts. Their term length is set at 12 years. And unlike lower judges, Supreme Court ministers absolutely cannot be re-elected. But here is where the popular vote truly flexes its muscles. The presidency of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice position, will no longer be chosen internally by the ministers themselves. Nope. Instead, the presidency will rotate every 2 years, and it goes to whoever received the highest number of popular votes during the election. The public vote directly determines the leadership of the court.
Section 4. Disciplina y tiempos legales. Discipline and legal time frames. This brings us to our final major structural shift.
What happens when judges don't follow the rules, or when cases face massive delays? Well, for years, the administration and discipline of the judiciary were handled by one incredibly powerful single body, the Federal Judicial Council. This reform completely dissolves that council. It's replaced by two distinct, separate entities, an organ of judicial administration for day-to-day logistics and a brand new Judicial Discipline Tribunal.
This new Judicial Discipline Tribunal is tasked specifically with investigating and sanctioning judges and magistrates. And, keeping with the central theme of this whole explainer, the magistrates who sit on this powerful new disciplinary tribunal, they will also be elected by direct popular vote for 9-year terms.
And the power of this new tribunal is tied directly to a very strict new timeline, 6 months. Under Article 17 of the Reformed Constitution, judges are now strictly mandated to resolve specific matters, primarily tax disputes and certain criminal cases, within a maximum of 6 months.
If justice isn't delivered in that 6-month window, well, the reform has a built-in consequence. The judge in question has to immediately notify the new Judicial Discipline Tribunal and justify exactly why the delay occurred. And if that justification isn't sufficient, the tribunal has the power to impose sanctions. It is a direct mechanism designed to hold these newly elected judges accountable for the speed of their rulings.
So, we've covered the elimination of age limits, the strict academic requirements, the $0 campaigns, and these brand new disciplinary bodies. Mexico is embarking on a path that literally no other nation has taken at this scale. So, I'll leave you with this question. How will placing judges on a popular ballot truly transform the daily administration of justice in Mexico? Will it deliver the rapid transparency the authors promised, or will it bring unforeseen challenges? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning the systems that shape our world.